What's up, curators? Welcome back for another fun-filled episode of the Yarn Curator podcast. My name is Naomi. Welcome to my channel where I like to talk about all things knitting related. If you are a new viewer, welcome back, or not back because you've never been here before. If you're a new viewer, welcome. I hope you enjoy the Hot Mess Express that will be today's episode because it has been a hot minute since I have done this, so I apologize if you're a returning viewer. You're used to the Hot Mess Express. It is the regularly featured content on this channel. If you hear some noise in the background, I do apologize. My husband just got home from work and he asked what he could do to help dinner preparations. I told him he could do the dishes, so I'm not looking that gift horse in the mouth. And yeah, if you would like to follow me on social media, links will be provided down below. I'll put the information on the screen as well. So welcome back, you guys. I have a ton of stuff. You can see I got a big old stack of stuff to talk about. It has probably been close to 2 months since the last time I sat down to film. And I've been busy. I had meant to film a few weeks ago, like around the start of November. So I meant to film a month ago. And then I signed up for 2 test knits and all filming plans went out the window because I felt like I had to make those happen. Yeah, with that being said, I have done a lot of knitting. I have done some spinning. I got a sizable amount of FOs to show to you guys. So yeah, we'll just jump right in, and I think I will go in order of finishing. So back around the end of October, I was on a real kick to finish kind of lingering whips. So this is a hat that I made out of hand spun yarn, and it is leftovers from my Jupiter crop, which I knit last year. I actually cast this hat on during the Super Bowl. For those of you who don't know, my husband and I watch football religiously on Sundays. It's one of our things. And so yeah, we sat down, we watched the Super Bowl. I wanted something just kind of mindless to work on because my team was playing. And so yeah, I cast this on, I think on US size 6 or 7 needles. Just kind of made it up. I think I cast on 90 or 100 stitches. Went till I thought it was long enough. Then I ran out of yarn. And I was in the middle of the decrease rounds when I set this down for like 8 months and never picked it back up. So I picked it up the other day. I don't remember how I was doing the crown decreases. I just kind of made it up and bound it off, and now it's done. So you can see there it is in my favorite color, which is purple. It's a little bit too big, which says something because that says a lot considering how much hair I have. But I think this is just going to go. I have a stack of hats and they're easy gifts. And so hats are essentially my form of sock knitting. And yeah, this will get gifted to someone one day down the road. Maybe my sister-in-law or my friend Rachel, who are my other 2 gift knits. I might throw this in her package. So continuing on, and I apologize if this feels rushed, but I have so much to talk about with you guys, and I know some of the other things I'll talk about a lot more, but it's a vanilla hat. What much more is there to say? So this adorable little thing is a mini sorrel. I have talked about this in the past. This is knit out of Nora George yarns in one of her birthday cake colorways, and I need to get this in the mail. When I was gonna film a few weeks ago, I was like, oh, let me sit down, I'll film, I'll talk about this so I can get this in the mail to the baby. That way it'll fit it at the appropriate age. And I have yet to do that. I have also apparently yet to weave in the end, so it's a good thing it is not yet in the mail. But as I mentioned, my friend Rachel is one of my childhood friends, very good friends still, and she had a baby a few months ago. So Wool and Pine asked for preview knitters for this pattern. So I signed up. I did realize afterwards, I do believe the second sleeve is it's just like an ½ inch shorter than the other one. So yeah, whoopsies on that one. But I really enjoyed making this. I think I made it on US size 4s, and it didn't even use a whole ball of yarn. And that ball of yarn I had already knit some from, so probably less than 50 grams. And this is the 6-month to 1-year-old size. And you can see it's got that lovely dip stitch, like starburst motif in there. And it's just so wee, it's so cute, and I love it. Along with that, I also knit him a blanket, and this has been washed and blocked. And this is knit out of a patter cake. Don't remember the color, but it does this natural gradient. I just did a knit corner to corner blanket. When I was up in North Carolina for SAF visiting my sister Zoe, who is Felicity Yarn Studio here on YouTube, she did have to lend me a little bit of gray acrylic because I ran out of yarn. So I just need to weave in the ends on these, and now that I'm filming, I will do that and get this in the mail to her post-haste. Sorry. I feel like those are really lackluster, so let's get into the good stuff. Y'all know what I love to make. I love making garments. So as I mentioned, I was on a finishing spree. I was feeling overwhelmed, and so I felt the urge to really finish things. So one of the things I finished was my Stonecrop cardigan. This is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. I knit mine out of Manos del Uraguay for the main color, and then I used my own hand spun yarn for the contrast color. And the yarn itself, once again, my sister Zoe, she'll feature heavily in today's episode. She dyed the fiber for me before I spun it, and then I spun it into a 2-ply, and then it eventually, in its life cycle, made its way into being my Stonecrop cardigan. And I love this sweater, you guys. So I'll show you the good stuff. So it has, as I've talked about before, it has all of these baubles. And if you've never worked baubles before, there's a few different ways you can do them. I know you can do them kind of knitting front back like 7 times, and then you knit all those stitches together to make your little popcorn stitch. You can do it with a crochet hook, which is how Andrea Mowry calls for in this pattern. And you can also, I've seen there's a way like you knit and then you knit back and then you knit and then you knit back and something along those lines. There's a lot of turning of your work involved. Anyways, I hated doing them with the crochet hook. Hated it. And I have to say, I've talked to other people who have knit this pattern, and it's like the bauble mojo destroyer.
I am Stonecrop, destroyer of bauble mojo.
There are just so many, and if you have a larger chest, like I do, like this row before you divide for your sleeves, I think you work something like 200 baubles in the row. It's a stunking lot of baubles. And yeah, so there's that. But anyways, I think the last time I talked about this on my channel, I had just bound off the body and all it needed was the sleeves. So I went ahead and worked those. I did omit the baubles on my sleeves because I worried that when I moved my arms, they would kind of rub against the body of the sweater and it might just create like an awkward feeling, kind of nub on nub action. That does not sound right when I say it. But yeah, that was kind of what was going through my mind. And I did knit these 3/4 length sleeves or bracelet, just past my elbow, bracelet length. Also, I had I had just enough of the purple to finish this. I think I have like 5 grams of the purple left. I probably couldn't have made the sleeves much longer if I had wanted to because of that. And yeah, overall, I have to say I am really pleased. So I'll let you guys get the full experience. So this was the sweater that I wore to SAF when I went up there. And yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I'll let you guys see. So this is the leftover yarn. I spun close to 200 grams of it, and it's all these light, like icy blues and purples, and it's absolutely beautiful. So I am so chuffed with this. I do think once it blocked, it's a little large. I think it's a little bit big in the back. Like I got a lot of extra ease. So I've debated kind of taking it in on the sides, maybe just sewing it so it's a little bit more form-fitting. But if anyone's done that, let me know, because I do think it's a little bit big in the back. So like I said, this is my Stonecrop. I am really pleased with it. I don't know if I've talked about it on this channel, but I then jumped on a test knit for Wool and Pine Designs. Again, I'm not going to show it because I have a feature video about it, but it is the little brain fart. Oh, I've knit too many patterns of theirs. It's the one with the raglans of different sleeves. So I next knit the Snow Pine sweater for Wool and Pine Designs. I'm not going to show it off on today's episode just out of time constraints. I don't want this to be too long. I already know it's gonna be long. Like I already know it's gonna be a long one. And that's like 10 minutes that I already have a video of it on. And so when the Snow Pine test finished, they put out another call for test knits. And so I signed up to do the Ponderosa sweater, which is this right here. So this is my finished Ponderosa sweater. So this garment features everything I dislike in garment construction when I look at a pattern. It's seamed, it has cables, it's knit from the bottom up, and it's on a deadline. Why wouldn't I say, yes, that's the test knit for me. I just want to do that. But their picture is so darling and so classic and so pretty. And so yeah, despite all of that, I decided to go ahead and sign up for this test knit. As you can see, I did a long sleeves. So I was slightly lured by Zoe to knit this sweater because she said she really wanted to make it. And I was kind of on the fence about it. I had just finished my like 4th or 5th test knit in a row and really feeling the desire to want to get like, not freedom in knitting back, but when I do test knits, those are the priority knit because I know the designer has a deadline that they're striving to meet. I want to do that as well as be able to show nice finished object photos on release day. And so yeah, I was feeling kind of burnt out with test knitting. And so I was bribed with the offer of a custom dyed yarn by Zoe. So I knit this out of Zoe's yarn. It is her high twist MCN base. It's 400 yards, 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. And the colorway is Sticky Toffee Pudding is the name of that colorway. And it's this really rich brown. It's kind of one of those colors that changes in the light. It's probably more true to color back here, but it's this really pretty kind of brassy chocolate medium toned brown, and I just love it. I talked about this the last episode I did. I am really into warm tones lately, which is not my usual MO, but I'm rolling with it, and I love having kind of a new color and a new staple piece into my wardrobe. So as I mentioned, it is knit bottom up. It is then seamed at the sides. You seam your shoulders together, and then you pick up your sleeves and work those around. The back is knit flat, so there's no cables on the back. And yeah, I have to tell you guys, I made a few boo-boos and unintentional and intentional modifications on this pattern. So when I first cast this on, I briefly watched the tutorial that Wool and Pine have on how to cable without a cable needle. And I watched it and I was like, oh, great, got it. I've seen that technique demonstrated before. I'm an old pro, old hat, I got this. So I start knitting and I'm like, man, my left leaning cable is just, something ain't right, man. They don't look right. And I was like, I wonder what I'm doing wrong. So I went back and watched their video again and realized I wasn't crossing enough stitches. So it's a 3/2 cross, and I was only moving 2 stitches over and not the 3. So my left cable looked like this skinny little leg compared to the right cable that was 3, stitches moving over. And I had already knit like half of this panel when I realized this mistake. So I ripped it out, started over, and I don't know at what point, if this was just me not paying attention, me being flustered one day after work, but when I finished this panel, I realized instead of knitting it on the prescribed gauge, which I think was US size 6 needles, I somehow on my interchangeable set had twisted on one US 5 on one side and a US 6 on the other side. So I wasn't even knitting at the proper, like with the proper needles. It's fine, it's close enough. My gauge is a US 5.5, whatever that evens out to be. So I do think my panel is just a smidge narrower than if I would have knit it on the proper needle size, but that's okay. I like it. I like that it's a little bit of a more form-fitting fit on my body. I've talked about this in the past. So that means what I did on the back panel is I also knit that with the US 5 on one side and the US 6 on the other side of the needle. I just went ahead and corrected that. On their version of the pattern, the whole back panel I think is knit on a smaller needle. Like I think if the pattern's written for a 6, the whole back panel is written for a 4. I didn't follow that, so I did all of my ribbing on a US size 4, did my combo needle, and then went back to the US size 4. Another thing their pattern employs is mattress stitch for the seaming, and I got to admit I struggle with mattress stitch. I have tried it, I have watched tutorials, and I always up. And so what I did up here is I pinned it together and kind of counted. So I did a 3 needle bind off along the top here, and then I did a twisted rib, not a twisted rib, Lori's twisty bind off along the top. In hindsight, I wish I would have stopped kind of more around here and done more of a boat neck. However, I do actually like the nice kind of tighter collar on this, but kind of wish I would have stopped a little bit sooner with that 3 needle bind off. And then for the sides, I did not mattress seam those either. I did a crocheted seam on the sides, which essentially you just insert your crochet hook through the 2 side seams underneath and then work like a single crochet chain along the side of the body. It's easier and faster for me, and yeah, it's just I think it's the littlest bit bulkier underneath than you get with a mattress stitch. However, it's not enough to make a difference for me. And if you have never done it, Very Pink Knits has a great tutorial on it, and I really like it. One of my other unintentional design features is I accidentally, you can see right here, repeated this cable twice, but I did it across the whole row. When I realized it, I was like way up here and I was not dropping down to fix that. So I don't think it's noticeable unless you're really staring at the pattern. it doesn't bother me. It's fine. And some of these side cables have there's a few oopsies along the very sides. But on the whole, I think I knit this in about 2.5 to 3 weeks, which is really good considering it's one of those projects that's kind of modular in nature. But it was really nice because I could breeze through the back like watching TV. Same for the sleeves. And I ended up only using 3 balls of yarn. So I have a skein left over. I think I'm going to make a matching hat, and I think I'm going to jump on the my brain's not working. Whatever the trendy hat. Oh, I think I'm going to jump on the Musselburgh hat train and knit one of those. I know there's quite a few people making those right now, but I thought that would be a great use of this skein. One last thing to say, I knit the size 42 or 44 inch bust. As I said, I think it would have been a little bit bigger if I would have actually used the correct needles in combination with each other. And the pattern is written to be worn with a little bit more ease than I knit mine with. And so that brings me to my next final object, or my final finished object, and it is yet to be named. And it is, if you are on Instagram or pay attention to the knitting world at all, it is the newest test knit from Jen Steingass. So this is my final finished object of the episode. As I said, this is another test knit for Jennifer Steingass, and it is yet to be named as of Monday, December 6th. It comes out December 8th. So hopefully I can edit it and put a name on the screen. It will be linked down below. And yeah, I thought to myself when I saw this go out, like, I want to knit that sweater. As soon as I saw it making the rounds all over social media, I just love the way she created this illusion of movement in the yoke. It is just so striking, and it's like simple. It looks like wheat kind of just like blowing in the wind is what I see, or like feathers. Yeah, I just think that is so gorgeous. So as we all know, the holidays are a super relaxing time, and you know what went through my brain was, yes, I want to test knit 2 sweaters with the same release date in the same time frame. Expectation versus reality was totally different. So I have to say that was probably not one of my smartest decisions, because when I cast this off, it was like,
it's done. It's over now.
And yeah, but I knit this out of Harrisville Designs. I knit it out of the Nightshades for the main color here, and then the contrast color is one of their Daylights collection. So this is the contrast color. It's the one that's dusted with flecks of purple, and it is the lint colorway. This segues kind of into a tangential acquisition. So when I originally cast this on, I was actually thinking I was going to use this hand spun right here from Wound Up Fiber Art for the contrast color. One is kind of a pale yellow, the other is like a vibrant reddish purple with some of that yellow throughout. And I started knitting it, and I wasn't feeling the hand spun with the Nightshades, and I think that's because this is a woolen spun yarn and that is worsted spun, and so they just didn't look right together. And I tried both. I started originally with the yellow, and I knit probably to about here, ripped it out, tried it again with the purple, ripped it out, and said, you know what, it's fine. I got this other test knit I can plug away on. I am just going to order the sister yarn to the Nightshades. And so I went on Harrisville's website, I ordered a yarn, and like a week went by and it hadn't shipped yet. And I was like, ooh, okay, the crunch is real. So then I went to a local yarn shop that I've used in the past in Ohio. It's not local to me, but it's called Rivers Colors Studio, I believe. And I've bought yarn from them in the past, and I know they ship like the same day that you put the order in. And so I just went ahead and saw that they carried it and bought a second skein. I contacted Harrisville. I tried to get them to cancel this skein of yarn, which they did not do. They said my order was already in process. It hadn't even shipped yet, so I'm gonna call bullshit on that one. But so now I have an extra 1.5 or so skeins of that, and I only used 3 out of my 5 skeins of the Nightshades. So I still have 2 skeins of the Nightshades left over. This is the Talk Radio colorway. It is also dusted with the purple color. So yeah, this is a side tangent. Told y'all today was going to be a hot mess. So I still have one of the Daylights in the lint colorway. I have its inverse here, the Talk Radio for the Nightshades. These are both 100% Cormo, 250 yards per every skein. And it says it's DK weight. I think it's closer to a worsted when it is all knit up and said and done. But what I've been thinking about as I finish this project is I have 2 skeins of this yarn right here that I purchased at UIF in 2019. This is from Hawkshaw Sheep, Bonfire Smoke, and it's 100% British wool. It says it's from Shetland and Hebridean sheep. But I have these like yummy purples that will all go together of DK weight, and I have enough probably for like a striped sweater or something. So if you guys have any pattern suggestions, drop them down below, because I was kind of thinking like a shawl or a sweater would be really pretty out of those together. So let me know down below. Back to this sweater. So this pattern is written to create a little bit of a fade in the yoke here. So it's actually written for 2 contrast colors in the yoke. I simplified it down to 1 for convenience. And I knit mine, I went up a needle size. It's written for US size 5s. I went up to a US size 6 because I felt like this was really dense up in here, the color work. And then I just stayed on that needle as I knit through the body. And for the sleeves as well, I did do the ribbing on a US size 4. And yeah, this motif is deceptively simple. There are a few long floats in there, and I found that when I was knitting the yoke, I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, because when I did catch my floats, it felt like
really lumpy and thick in there.
She wrote it as a worsted weight pattern, and I feel like US size 5 needles is a really dense gauge for that thick of a yarn, especially doing stranded color work where you're going to be catching those floats. It did even out for the most part in the wash, and I think it lays a lot better now. When it was pre-blocked, I was like, yeesh, that does not look pretty. But it has evened out a lot. But I think this is a pattern where you could have even gone up probably to a US size 7 needle. And I'm sorry, I'm not saying the metric for you guys, but I don't know the conversion off the top of my head. But I think you could even probably go up to like a US size 7 and go down a pattern size depending on how your gauge shakes out. That's just my 2 cents. And whenever I caught a float, say the row prior, you knit 4 in the darker color and then 2 of the lighter color, and then on the next row I need to catch within here, I would always try and catch my float on one of the lighter color stitches on the row prior. That way it didn't end up kind of showing through here. I believe there's a few spots where I was not able to do that, but just a little tip for you guys if you're doing color work. That's kind of how I try and mask my floats, because sometimes they do peek through. And then yeah, I did do full length sleeves on this as well. You guys, this is a record. I knit 2 garments with full length sleeves. You guys should be proud of me. I normally, like I said, I normally do 3/4 length, and this one I debated it for a hot second. It was super cute when the sleeve ended here, because the waistline ends here, so and the sleeve would have ended right about there, and it created this really flattering line at the waist. That's just my 2 cents. But I did want full length sleeves because a lot of what is back in my wardrobe here of hand knits is that bracelet length sleeve. So I've got some more variety. I like adding in like a nice graphic dark colored sweater as well. And the daylights are awesome. Like I said, it looks like it's black on screen, and then you get close and you can see the purple and the sun. It just kind of, it glows whatever color is mixed in with that black fiber. It's a really cool effect. I don't think you get it as much in the daylights. The daylights, it looks just more like kind of like speckled bits of the color in there. So yeah, this is my finished unnamed sweater, soon to come out, by Jen Steingass. If that wasn't enough, in between all of the test knits, I did also make some really good progress on my Yell cardigan, and this is pretty much my only work in progress that I have to show you guys. So this is a pattern by Marie Wallen. I am knitting this as part of Nikki, who is knitting with cat hair. She is doing a Marie Wallen knit along. It's a year long, hashtag a year of Marie Wallen Cal. So yeah, I cast this on a while ago, and I knit like 2 rows of this seed stitch down here at the bottom, and I set it down and I started working on all of the test knits that I just described to you. And in between my Snow Pine and my Ponderosa, I was like, man, I really want to do some color work. So I picked this up, and this is just like a weekend and some changes worth of knitting. And then I was like, okay, I need a break from that. I want something mindless. And then that's not what I worked on. And then I stressed myself out with my knitting. So I am knitting this all out of Biches Bush yarn. The bottom colorway is golden brown, and then it goes into an aqua and kind of a tealy green and a rust color. And I talked about this in the past when I picked out my color palette for this pattern. I kind of wanted something that kind of had like a retro 70s theme. So I looked at a few kind of color palettes online, and then I've not deviated too much from her original color choices. It's just kind of the saturation of my hues is slightly different. I did change in here. I think she has this kind of with a greenish blue in the original. I switched that to this color down here on the hem, and that just kind of pulled that into the colorwork section. I did try it in a green, and I tried it with a blue, and I wasn't liking it with kind of that mustard, and so I changed it. So yeah, I'm making really good progress. This right here, this section, is probably my favorite color combo right now. And yeah, I just I'm feeling the urge to pick it back up. and I believe there's 1 or 2 more motifs just past this, and then you kind of get into the meat and potatoes of the pattern. So you can see in here, this is all of my yarn choices, and yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. I've got some leftover yarns that I'm using from past projects, but most of this I did buy with the intention of making this project. So if all of that wasn't enough, I have also been doing a good amount of spinning. And this is kind of tangentially related to acquisitions. So my aunt sent a message on Facebook Messenger not too long ago asking if I had any hand spun along a certain color theme, because she is wanting to make the Shifty by Andrea Mowry, and she already has some spin cycle that she is wanting to use with that. Yes, spin cycle. And I didn't have anything already spun up in my stash, but I sent her to Wound Up Fiber Arts and said, like, she does a shop update every Saturday, pick out something that you like and I'll spin it up for you. So I have done half of this spin for her, and the other half is buried in here. And so yeah, this is the other half of that fiber, and you can see it in here. I think it's Toasted Marshmallow, I believe is the name of the colorway. And yeah, it's been really enjoyable. Last year, as a Christmas present to myself, I purchased a woolly winder for my flat iron, and so I actually did my first spin using that for this, and I have to say it's a magical thing, the woolly winder. Yeah, I really liked it. I do think I need to oil it though, because it was pretty clickety and clackety. And yeah, so I have this, and then she also asked for another set of fiber to be spun, and it's back in there. It's kind of a bluish colorway, so I'm hoping I can finish those by Christmas because I am truly banned from test knitting again. I need to get some things out of the works. So I have been working on that spin, and then I've also had another spin on the side, and this is 100% Rambouillet. It is it's a fiber that my parents picked up last year when they were road tripping in their RV, and they bought Zoe and I each a pound of this fiber, and I have spun now about half of it, I believe. This is the first bobbin. I have my second bobbin going, and I've got like maybe an ounce or 2 left of that bobbin, and then I've got the other third just in the closet behind here. And so my plan is to do a 3-ply. I was aiming for a fingering weight. I think it's going to come out closer to like a Sport or a DK, and I would like to do a all over cabled jumper out of this yarn. I think it'll be so delicious when it's done, but it is a lot of spinning. It's no joke, and it's a little bit boring. Like I said, it's just all natural gray yarn, so it gets a little old versus this where you get to see like different colors slipping through your hands. So it's nice having the option of being able to do the 2 different projects on the wheel, and I've really enjoyed working with the Rambouillet. It's probably becoming one of my favorite sheep breeds. It's got a lovely soft airiness to it, but I have to apologize. My husband just started his workout for the night, if you hear that in the background. But yeah, it's lovely, bouncy, airy, warm, soft, all those things you love out of a good sheep breed. And so that takes us just into acquisitions. And before I left for North Carolina, The local Weavers Guild actually is one of the partner organizations at my work. I didn't say this at the beginning. I am the curator at a local history museum. We're not quite a living history museum, but we do a lot of demonstrations on site, and part of those demonstrations is working with local clubs who come and volunteer and show off their crafts for free. So at my work, we demonstrate blacksmithing, weaving, spinning, knitting, basket making. We work with an antique car club, and a few times a year they like fire up the old Ford Model Ts and show how to change the oils in those. So yeah, it's a really vibrant place to work. But they had their annual member sale for their members, and I ended up joining the guild, but I also picked up this gorgeous, I believe 100% silk yarn in this really pretty light pink color. It's pretty true to color here. If anyone out there speaks Japanese, please translate this label for me, but it was in a basket labeled 100% silk. Obviously lace to fingering weight, and that's all I really know about it. But I figured I can either weave this or knit it up into something. It doesn't have a lot of stretch in it, which I find really interesting, and it's really crunchy. So I wonder if it's like linen where it'll soften up with use over time. But yeah, if anyone has ever seen this before or knows anything about it, slide into my DMs. I got a few more acquisitions to show you guys, and then I promise I will wrap this up because I know you can probably hear my husband's exercise class in the background, and I will circle to that in 1 second. So while I was in North Carolina, I was chatting with Zoe, and she received a project bag that she had purchased from our friend Gemma, and I had thought about getting one of Gemma's bags, and when I saw it come in, I was like, I need one. So this project bag is handmade by Gemma, who has the channel Gemma B Makes on YouTube, and she is just one of the most delightful humans, and we have a little group chat going, and yeah, I was just really happy to be able to support my friend in her quest to get a new sewing machine. And so yeah, this came, and my Ponderosa test was living. All right, sorry about that, you guys. My phone ran out of memory, and then my husband was exercising, and so I decided just to pause things to make it a little bit. So I decided to pause things just to reduce the amount of background noise. But I was saying that, yes, I got this project bag, and it is like having my friend sit next to me, even though I would love to have her in real life next to me on the couch. This will have to do as a stand-in Gemma. So one other quick acquisition to talk about is Zoe, my sister, did knit me a pair of socks, and this yarn I actually got her as a Christmas present many years ago, and I think the leftovers found their way to me. And yeah, that about does it for what I've been making and what I've been working on. I was going to mention that you know, if you follow me on Instagram, you will see that the exhibit I have been talking about for the last like year or so finally opened. I'll put in some footage here. So I have been working on this project for the last 18 months or so, and it is by far the biggest exhibit I've ever curated in my career to date. It's about 1,800 square feet, and it is in a reproduction building that we have on site, and it documents the history of a local boat builder named Clark Mills. He actually designed a sailboat primarily for kids to learn how to sail on in the 1940s, and it is the most widely produced sailboat in the world. Over 500,000 have been made worldwide, and it originated here, and he was a local guy. We have his family papers at my museum, and I think 80% of Olympic sailors train on this sailboat design, and so I felt a lot of pressure because there's a lot of stakeholders within the community who were looking to see this exhibit completed. The whole project, the impetus for it was they wanted to donate a sailboat by another local guy who had a different boat built by the same boat designer and boat builder, and they had his world championship winning sailboat, and they wanted to donate it to my work, and there was nowhere to store it, and that's kickstarted funding and building this facility to house the boat, as well as a few other of Clark's designs. And yeah, then there was some staff turnover over the years, and so the project kind of kept getting kicked down the road. I got hired back in 2017 at my current institution, and it was one of the first projects that my then manager gave to me. Once again, more turnover, and we just got it completed this year. And so it was really nice to be able to do that and to show our stakeholders, like, we see this project and we're going to carry it through to the end. For me, it was a huge learning curve. I don't know anything about sailing. I know the history in the shop. It's kind of some larger narrative themes and in this person's life story really well, but like nautical history is not my strong suit. Yeah, but I was really excited to get that big project done. It looks so good, and I'm so incredibly pleased with it and how it turned out. And the other thing we've been working on is as I mentioned, we have this Weavers Guild that we work with, and there's a few other guilds and groups who demonstrate in this one particular house. And it kind of looks like yarn threw up everywhere in this house and just quilts, and it's a cluttered mess. And so we've been working with their liaisons to pull back and reveal the layers of this house and make it look more era appropriate and better display their artwork, as well as telling the history of the family that once lived in this home. And so that's kind of my next project that I've been working on, am currently working on, and having a lot of fun with it, because it's just like happy decorating for me. And so that's been really fun and really rewarding as well, because it's kind of been a less involved project. Like, I've had to do research and stuff for appropriate furnishings and researching the family and pulling in their family photos, and the next step is to write some narrative to go along in the house as well, and provide some updated interpretation to our volunteers who give tours in there. But it's been a lot more fun than boats. So yeah, that's been fun. And then the other thing that's been going on with us is Mr. Yarn Curator and I splurged, and we purchased a Peloton exercise bike. And it's not to brag or anything along those lines, but to say, if you are a fellow knitter who also has one, I would love to connect with you. I would love to ride with you sometime, and drop your information down below. That way I can link up with you. I am absolutely loving it. I was really athletic as a teenager. I ran cross country, I played soccer, tennis, I did taekwondo when I was younger. And so as I've gotten older, I've become more sedentary, and it's really nice to kind of move my body again. And it's just the convenience of having it here in your home is really nice. And then their platform, I've talked to other people who are like, oh my God, I love it. And their platform is really great. Some really great instructors. And so I've really been enjoying that over the last month or so. So if you would like to ride, I'll put my handle down in the description boxes down below. And then you can like follow different hashtags or whatever in there, and I've leaned full into the knitting theme. So I've been using the hashtag nitty gritty, and I don't think anyone else uses it. So if we want to build a community of pillow knitters out there, make that hashtag happen and we'll all ride together. So yeah, that's been really enjoyable and really fun, and it's really nice. I can feel myself getting stronger and healthier, and that's really rewarding. I think there's something really powerful about feeling strong, and that is something that I have gotten from this. And yeah, it's really nice to just take steps to be healthier as I get older. It's not something I talk about a lot on my channel. I really try and keep it like lighthearted and focused on the knitting, but as I've gotten older and into my 30s, I have definitely like felt the most confident and comfortable in my body than I have in my entire life. I feel like I've truly learned to accept my body and what it is for all of its lumps and bumps and flaws and strong muscles and not strong muscles and all of that good stuff. And that acceptance of your body is really liberating as well. And so that, coupled with some healthy habits and just the endorphins you get from exercising, it's really improved my mental health lately, I'm not gonna lie. And so it's worth every expensive penny that we spent on it for that alone. And yeah, I don't want to get into a big old talk about bodies and all of that stuff. Everyone has their own journey with their body that they're on, and yeah, it's just really enjoyable, really rewarding. I actually look forward to the end of the workday and like going and hopping on the bike for 30 to 45 minutes. And so yeah, it's created this nice little routine. I get home from work about 45 minutes before my husband, so normally I'm finishing up my workout when he gets home, and he'll just like go and prep stuff for dinner, and then while he's riding, I'll kind of pick up the dinner preparation from there and actually cook whatever we're eating. So we've got these like nice healthy habits and routines out of it as well, and that's been really nice. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to talk about, but I think that is about it. I just realized my ring light is hanging out back there, so I might do something fun with that in the editing process. Anyways, that is enough rambling. This is going to be long enough as it is. I'm sure I've forgotten to talk about something, and it'll be saved for the next time. So thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. Yeah, until next time, I hope you enjoy whatever you're making. I hope it brings you joy. I'll talk to you later.